Okay, we are going to get things started here. Welcome to another edition of the Camp Franchise webinar series here. Today it is in July. As always, I've got special guests joining us for the program here today. So let me pull up the agenda. I'm going to give you a second to meet our two participants here. We've got about 20 of you joined right now. For those of you who are listening to the recorded version of this, feel free to follow up. There'll be contact information in the email that this link was in. For those of you that are joining us live, any questions that you have, feel free to ask them throughout the presentation. You're more than welcome to drop them in the chat. You can also text those questions to me, and I've just put my phone number into the chat. So it's 909-519-5027. There's also a designated Q&A session at the end. I'll have the number back up on the screen. But for those of you that want to ask a question early, you don't want it to pop out of your head, feel free to either drop it in the chat. I'll be moderating that throughout our webinar here. And again, you can also just text me directly at 909-519-5027. Okay, well, today's topic is Blueprint to Owning a Successful Camp Franchise. So we've got two people joining us today from one of the top performing locations in our system. So joining us from the Riverside West location is Anthony and Nico. We'll take a second, let them introduce themselves, and then we'll kick things off. Gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super honored. I'm super excited to be here for this webinar. Just a little bit about myself. I started working for the camp roughly 5 years ago, maybe going on 6. I started off at the camp in Chino. That's one of their top performing locations in the company, always top 5, whatever it may be. So, yeah, I started off as a front desk and then, learned the training floor as well, became a trainer, got promoted to lead front desk, maybe roughly 2.5 to 3 years in. I was doing that for a little bit. And then as of 10 months ago, I had the amazing opportunity to take over the Camp Riverside West alongside Anthony.
Hi guys, I'm Anthony. I've been working for camp for about 2 years now. I started off as a trainer at the Rancho location. I also bounced around to Chino and to the Riverside location as well, all as a trainer. And then in February, I was actually promoted to director. So I went straight from training 2 years ago, straight into the director position, alongside with Nico, in February.
Outstanding, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much. I've taken class with both of these guys, and I can attest to the fact that they're really good trainers. Kicked my butt both times, and obviously their passion for the brand, passion for everything the camp has exploded now as they've driven Riverside to one of the top performing locations inside of our system. And so that's kind of what I want to focus on today is, this 5-part turnaround framework, right? And I think first and foremost, Nico, you both kind of already alluded to this. You walked into a struggling location, right, 10 months ago. What was the very first move you made to get the team back on track?
The very first move that we did to get the team back on track, well, I want to give a little bit of context. We came into the location and what the first thing that I noticed was the staff, right? So, we're a transformation center. That's what the clients are looking for. Your team needs to be full of fitness professionals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing I noticed when we came into the studio is that these people are not fitness professionals. I look at them, I'm not inspired. They themselves need coaching. How can you expect them to coach other clients when their knowledge on fitness is very minimal, right? So one of the first things we did was actually clear house in the studio. We got rid of, I would say, around 80% of the existing staff at that location. Like I said, they weren't bought into the vision. They weren't bought into fitness, and they just, they didn't live that fitness lifestyle. So those are non-negotiables, honestly, when it comes to owning your own camp franchise. You need to have fitness professionals on the training floor and at the front as well.
Right. And I think you nailed it when you said they weren't inspiring anybody, right? And I mean, that really is what fitness is about. I mean, I would argue we help generate self-esteem, confidence, and you want to inspire people to be the best version of themselves. Not only inspire, but on a previous podcast, one of our co-founders had mentioned this, aspire. People should look at these trainers and say, wow, I want to be like them. I want to live that type of fitness life. And I agree with you, right? You've got to have fitness professionals there. So that's kind of step one, right? Make sure we hire a good team with a good fitness background. Anthony, anything to add to that?
Yeah, honestly, the biggest part is their mindset, man. Like if they're not bought into where we're taking this location, they're never gonna last there. So when we had our first meeting, like we set the standard very high. Like we're gonna be a top 5 location. This is where our standard is. We're gonna be 100K location. And if you guys are see that as unachievable at all, like this
Mm.
honestly isn't gonna work out for you. So getting the team like on board, having the right people in place with the right mindset is really like everything that changed it for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Mindset's number one. And I like that you came in and said, look, we're going to be a top location. And if you're not on board with that, then this isn't the right place for you, right? Because if you don't believe it, you're not going to achieve it, right? I sound like Tony Robbins now, but I mean, honestly, you've got to believe that you can get there, right? And if the team doesn't really genuinely feel that they can achieve that, it's going to be tough to get there, right? You're going to be kind of dragging dead weight. And I think that that's fantastic that you recognized that early on. You brought in people that really believed in the mission, the vision to be the number one club in that market. Now, once you did that, so you've got a team, they're fitness professionals, they believe in the vision, they believe in the dream, they believe in the camp. What's next, right? What are the kinds of things that now you're doing to re-engage that 20% that you kept, right? And also get these new people on board moving in the right direction.
Well, the biggest thing, and I think the first thing that we did was, ignite the team,
Mm,
right? And so as leaders, Anthony and I, we would lead by example. I always like to say that, I will never ask the team to do something that, I myself wouldn't do.
mm,
Right. So I made sure that the team would see what it's like to walk into that studio, into that location with high energy, good leadership, good ownership, and purpose. Right.
right.
And I also get personal with the team. So I talk to them, I sit down with them one on one, and I ask, what drives them? What are their goals within this company? Because it's a very fulfilling job, right? Weight loss is a very touchy subject for a lot of people, and
Mm-hmm.
seeing that transformation with people, with those clients, it's something special, right? You build like unimaginable relationships with all these people, hundreds of people. I've been working for the camp for 5 years, and I've had people literally like cry to me because of like the transformation they've gone through, and they give me credit for it. I mean, they put in the hard work 100%, but just because I was that person who signed them up and got them started, like the relationship is insane, right? Um, so yeah, I like to get personal with my team first of all, and I make sure that every person on my team feels heard, right? What I like to
Mm-hmm.
say, I always say this. I say I like to tell my team that like my job as an owner is to make your job easier, right? The product, the clients, the sales, the workouts, the training, all that stuff comes after. It's team first always, making sure that my team is okay is my number one priority above everything else. Without my team, I'm nothing. Without my team, I am nothing. So it's my team first, 100%. That's how like we were igniting the team, right? And then connecting their day to day role to something bigger as well. So everybody wants to feel like they're a part of something special. And I feel like that's something we've done really well in Riverside. Like I said, this job is very unique in the sense that weight loss is a touchy subject and it's very fulfilling when you're the catalyst to someone losing a bunch of weight, to someone getting to their goals,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's how we ignited, I would say, that's how we ignited the team, make them feel heard. Um, good leadership, and then connecting their day-to-day role to something bigger. I want them to see the bigger picture. What can we achieve here as a team?
Boy, I love everything you said there, right? Especially the part about connecting their day-to-day role to something bigger, right? You're not just the front desk. You're the first person people see when they come in. And if it's your first day and you're 80 pounds overweight and you're shy and you're intimidated, how great is it to see a warm, welcoming, inviting individual who is there to greet you? They know you're coming, they're expecting you, they know your name, they introduce you to the instructor, right? Make sure you get shown around, you understand what's about to happen. You really need to have those types of people that want to see other people succeed. And it trickles down from the top. I mean, it's very clear that, you know, you're practicing servant leadership. You want the team to have what they need to succeed. And ultimately, if they do, and the proof's in what you're doing, that it's going to drive success inside of the studio, right? Because the members are going to feel that those people want to be there. They want to serve the members as much as you want to serve the team. And so then it kind of rolls back up. I love everything you said. I also agree with you, having been in the fitness industry 20 years. It's probably one of the most rewarding and fulfilling jobs you could ever have, right? I mean, there's a lot of people doing a lot of different things, but it's not often, man, that you can really impact someone's life, right? I've seen people come off of medicines they were told they'd never be on. I've seen people do things, right? Get back to walking, get off of a stint, have self-confidence, right? They go from being shy to now they're the center of everything, right? And it all happens because you're helping them understand what their limitations are. You're pushing them through to achieving new goals, and you're really creating a quality of life for them that they didn't have a month, a week, a year ago, whatever, right? I love that. Anthony, anything to add to that?
It's kind of hard to go after that, man. But something that I will mention, I will also always respect Nico for, is that when he did come in, he didn't even tell us that he was the owner for, what was it, like, I'd say 2 months, maybe. It was more just like he was just there like all the time, like doing anything. So again, like it falls more towards he'd never ask anybody to like do anything he wouldn't do, because we saw him do everything. And like that was before he even mentioned like the title of like owner. He was there like we thought he was gonna be the director. Like and that was even me like being a trainer at the time. Like I thought like Nico was gonna be like our director, and then we'd find an AD and kind of go down from there. But it turns out that he was our owner, and it's just such a high level of respect for that. He didn't come in saying, "Oh, I'm the owner," step on toes and do this and make a bunch of changes. It was he came in like, "What does my team need?" And he over delivered and continues to do that now. So that's been the biggest thing for us too.
It's
Thank
like
you.
an episode of Undercover Boss.
Literally, literally. Surprise.
Man, that's great. That's great. Okay, so you're in there. You've got the team fired up. You've ignited them, as you said. Love that word. Now, once you've done that, what kind of issues do you start to notice operationally? Right, like where were they kind of dropping the ball? Where could they be better? And how did you address that?
100%. So, operational wise, there was a lot. There was no follow up process for leads, lackluster classes, negative experiences on the weight loss challenges. The sales pitches need polishing, the phone calls needed work, everything needed work, right? The first thing that we addressed was our product. If your classes aren't a 10 out of 10 every single day, it doesn't matter what trainer is training, you're going to close eventually, right? We like to use this analogy that we're a coffee shop. And if you're not serving that hot cup of coffee, if your coffee's coming out lukewarm, you guys are going to go out of business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the state of the gym itself was a mess. I mean, literally. So it was dusty, it was dirty. I don't know how these previous clients were still working out there. It was like almost like a biohazard, right? So we deep cleaned every nook and cranny of it. We got professional cleaners, professional carpet cleaners. So cleaned the entire gym out, and then installed new weights, new equipment. We were swapping the old like dusty turf into like something new and clean. We repainted the gym as
Mm-hmm.
well. So all of those changes, we also repainted the lobby as well. But all of those changes in the matter of some weeks, that really got to the members, right? They saw so much change in like 3 weeks. They knew that more was going to come, right? Because they saw that
Yeah.
big change.
Yeah. And
So
you're reinvesting back in them. and
exactly,
and people
exactly,
appreciate that, right?
exactly,
They can see that, okay, these guys care, right? These guys are
100%.
here to at least make the place where I'm coming and working out, spending my hard-earned money, make it nice.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
know, we fall into the niche of boutique fitness, right?
Hmm.
So if these clients are paying a higher rate than what a 24-hour or LA Fitness is charging, your gym better be clean,
Right.
right? That's a non-negotiable right there. They need to
Yeah.
feel like important. They pay their membership for a reason.
Yeah. Well, I like that. And I like that you said the product, the class has got to be fire. Right. I
Yeah,
mean,
100%. So
if
as
I'm paying for it, I want it to be top notch. I don't want subpar.
exactly, exactly. As for the classes, you know, since we cleared house, it was time to look elsewhere. So Anthony and myself, we did train. You know, we were trainers in the past, so we
Mhm.
did take up a lot of those classes. But it's ultimately as a leader, as a manager, you do need a healthy balance between the front end and the training floor. We couldn't just always be on the training floor. Then nothing
Right.
would get done at the front, right? So we reached out to other camp locations with trainers who, you know, had a good reputation. They were held in high regard. And for those trainers who were looking for more hours, you know, we didn't want to
Right.
step on any of locations' toes.
Hmm.
It was always approved by their manager first before we even reached out to them. Um, but yeah, we looked for more trainers who wanted more hours and that their location couldn't provide. And this basically allowed us to get such a strong team of trainers, and they needed very minimal polishing
Right.
just because they've been with the camp, they know the culture, they see like we went to locations who are high performing, right? So they know what it's like to work at a good performing location. And yeah, it required very minimal polishing on our end as managers, just because they've been with the camp for quite some time.
Okay, very good. And these are things that I know you guys, did a takeover, but this is applicable to anybody, right? I mean, you have a clean club, you make it pretty, whether it's new or a takeover, right? You have great trainers that know what the heck they're doing. They're running fire classes, right? So this is for those who I just got someone who texted in. Yes, this is applicable to both. This is applicable to if you're taking over an existing club that might be underperforming, and it's also applicable to if you are looking to build a new location, right? I mean, it's got to be clean. Thankfully, it's new, so that won't be a challenge. But you've got to hire great trainers, passionate, enthusiastic about fitness professionals, as you had mentioned earlier. And you've got to deliver an awesome product to start. What's next after that, guys?
Honestly, I think we start getting into more. Hello?
I'm still here. I think maybe the camera froze, but keep going.
Oh,
We're
okay.
still
Sorry.
good.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. I think we start getting into more of like the challenges. We start to getting more into elite. We start getting
Mm,
into the extra stuff, right? So when we noticed that none of these clients were doing challenges, our supplement sales are terrible, and we realized very quickly that those two things are going hand in hand. So whether we're doing very badly, those things go hand in hand, or either even now when we are doing better, those two things again go hand in hand, our supplement sales and our challenges. So it's like how can we get this up there? So the first thing that we did on those challenges is we did a Swole challenge. So we told everybody, hey, we're doing something different this time. So we partnered everybody up, right? And we also did something different as well, is that we told them that at the end of this challenge, whatever weight you guys lose together, you guys are going to combine that weight and basically doing like a biggest loser, right? So then they were also competing against each other for that. Like, so it got everybody excited, it got everybody hype. Like, we might have had 70, like almost 80 people like sign up. Like, it was overwhelming, like for us, like, but it was like to the point where it's like, this is what we needed. Like, we needed that spark of like,
right.
of family, of everybody coming together. Like, we're all here. Like, they see like this campus, we took over because things weren't going, as well as they should have been. So it's like they needed that sense of like somebody cares about them, and like we do, and we did, and it just really blew up from there. These people are just now continuously doing challenge after challenge after challenge because of how we attend to these people.
Yeah. Boy, I like that, right? So master the basic classes first, right? Make sure that's product is fire. Make sure people are getting in, having a good time, slapping some high fives, and then move on to what I would call, those additional upsells, right? So now we're getting people involved in the challenges, we're getting people involved in elite training, we're getting people involved in these additional programs that are going to further drive their success, right? And I really like that. That's a smart approach, right? Master, I guess walk before you run, as they say, right? So get the classes going and then say, okay, great, you guys are ready for some more. 80 people in a challenge. That's insane. So for everybody listening, that's an insane number to manage. I couldn't even fathom what weigh-in day must be like over there. You probably had to extend it to 2 or 3 days just to get everybody weighed in. That's absolutely amazing. And
It
the
was,
top performer, who was that? Do you guys remember
I'm
what the
sorry?
total weight was? You said you
Oh yeah.
combined their weights. What was the
It was
total
a pair
loss?
of sisters to make it so much better. It was like 60 something pounds. They lost like 30 something each.
Wow.
Like you can't write that. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
Like it was mapped perfectly. I told them from the start when I signed them up, I said, "Hey, I want you guys to win." And like they like when they signed up and they were like, haha, like funny, like two very quiet, shy ladies don't say anything. And I'm like, you guys are gonna win this shit. Like you guys go so hard. You guys are so competitive, like 100%. So they lost like 65, almost 70 pounds. Like it was crazy.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, that's amazing. Okay, so we're working on the classes, we're working on getting some upsells in. Any other areas that you felt the team needed additional training in? I mean, it seems like a lot to tackle at once. Is this spread out over a month, 2 months, 3 months? How long do you think it took you to dial the team back in?
Well, training never really ends, right? Even to this day, we still do role plays when we get the chance. We are still coaching our team how to be better. There's never a perfect, you
Right.
once you're a master, you still got to keep going, right? So it's not as if, okay, after 2 months you're good and then you're on your own. We still do monthly meetings with our team. We
Hmm.
do bi-weekly one-on-ones with our team. And, when we get the chance in studio, we're role playing as well, just mastering the craft, always polishing, right? Some of like the best practices that we started on.
Hmm.
I like to say that we have to do the basics done with excellence. So that can be as little as like greeting every person who comes in with a big smile, greeting everybody who comes in with high energy. Um, consistent follow ups. Even if you're not on a challenge, I'm following up on you. How are you doing? How are your fitness goals? They're coming in to work out. They obviously want to achieve something, right?
Right.
Um, I'm making sure that the trainers are, running powerful like intros. They're introducing themselves at the beginning of class. They're yelling out, "Hey, is it anybody's first time taking my class? If it is, it's a big welcome. Hey, everybody, say what's up to Kyle. It's his first time taking class. You know, Same thing at the end of class, guys. Let's clap it up for Kyle. He killed his first class. And
You know,
then
I don't want to cut you off, Nika.
no, go
That's
ahead.
such a simple thing. And you made me smile right here, right now when you said it, right? And
Exactly.
we're not even there, you know? And I love that you said just be excellent on the basic things. And that's so basic, right? Have you taken this class before? No. Let's everybody clap it up for him before and after class. And again, you're making me smile again thinking about it. And such a simple thing has such a huge impact on the member and then obviously on the facility and the mojo and the energy. That's fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. And then, just some sales techniques like planting the seed for the upsell.
Mm-hmm.
Your trainers are your most influential people at that studio, right? Your clients spend, I would say, 95% of their time with the trainer. They're on the training floor.
Mm.
So if your trainer can do an upsell correctly, right? Whether it be, sampling the product for a client, taking the time to listen to them, figuring out what's their wants and needs and plugging it into like one of our products, one of our supplements, then, you got a strong and fantastic team right there.
Mm.
That's what, I would say the top 5 locations in the company are doing right now. They're giving a lot of responsibility to their trainer, but they're acting accordingly on that responsibility.
And do you guys set, because I'm just, thinking as myself here, do you guys set a goal? Is there a daily goal? Is there a shift goal? Is there a monthly goal? How do you break down these goals so that you're driving success one and you've got to track it somehow? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'll kind of let Anthony talk about that. I know he is more in tune with the team one on one. So we meet with our team on a monthly basis, but
Hmm.
also one on one on a biweekly basis. And we set goals at both. I'll kind of let Anthony explain both of those.
Yeah, so we have a goal tracker first of all. So like this, we have our monthly goal. So we have whatever our monthly goal is, and then we have our product goal, like for the month, and then our product goal is gonna be 10% of whatever our monthly goal is, right? So if our goal is 60K or 70K, whatever, our product goal is 6 or 7K. So like we start there, and our goal is always for supplements to break that goal. Even for that, like our supplement goal right now is even more. We aim for 10K every month, and we've broken that goal just about every month for
Wow.
past 6 months almost. So we've been very adamant about that. Something that we've been very consistent with, very on top of everybody about how we deliver things, about our announcements. So like that's something huge that we take over. Is like it is about our trainers on the workout floor, but how we say things matters, right? It's not like, hey guys, we got some protein, like go try it out, right? It's
Mm.
so the big difference between that and guys with some protein samples, like you guys don't want to miss out on it, so the way we say things really made a difference for us as well too.
And I just got a text message in here, and you went a little bit quick. So I think I wrote it down right, but I want to double check here. You set a monthly goal, and then based on what that monthly goal is, you then set a supplement goal. And I think you said it was at 10%. Is that right, Anthony?
Correct.
Okay, so as again as the example for the person who wrote in here, if the goal, as Anthony said, was 60K for the month, then 10% or 6,000 would be the supplement goal. And then do you break that down um, by week, or do you guys do a daily breakdown? How do you do that? Is the remainder of this question here?
So we do track it by week. So
Okay.
we have a daily report. So every day we track our daily sales, and then we have a daily report to where we put that in. Every day we track that. So if I sold 5 tubs of protein in the morning and then we sold five at night, we track it. And then the next day, for Tuesday, we basically have it lined up. So from Monday through Saturday, every day we just track, what we sell for the day, and then we just correlate that to whether or not we hit like our weekly goal. So if our monthly goal, say 60K, obviously there's four weeks like in the month or whatever, just take that number, divide that by four, and that's our weekly goal for that.
Okay, very good. Follow-up question to this texted in here too. Are you only tracking supplements that way, or do you have the same system in place for the challenges and elite?
Oh, challenges. We have a challenge control sheet that will change your guys' lives. It's this organization. So something that we changed was again something that was lacking when we got there was the organization component. We had like a sheet for our 21-day challengers. We had a different spreadsheet for our 6-week challengers. We had a different
Mhm.
spreadsheet for our peak physiquers. So it was just all like all over the place. So having that all like confined into one area, having like your MOCs in one place, your peak
Right.
physique in one place, it's so lined up that to the point where we have all of our challenges laid out for the rest of the year. So like they haven't even happened yet, but we know exactly where they're at. We click a tab and they're all in the same bar on that same worksheet. So we just know that they're all lined up. They're in order as well. So we just know what's coming and everything on that. So the control sheet is something that we take very seriously, that we look over every day, because again, that's going to correlate like with everything. If you don't take care of your clients, you're never going to do another challenge again. So
In terms of like goal setting, we meet with our FBC. Her name is Lily. We meet with her
Okay.
every month, and we break down pretty much everything and anything. So any like different sales promotions going on for the month, along with challenge signups, elite signups, product sales, geez, anything you could think of, apparel,
Mhm.
paid in full sales, things like that. So we meet with the FBC and we basically break down the numbers. Okay, if we get 5 new signups for this month, 20 new challengers, this amount in products, then boom, we're gonna hit 60K. Like
Right.
mathematically, we're gonna hit 60K.
Mhm.
So every month we're meeting with our FBC, and that's something that is really I love about the camp is that there's so much franchise support. I'm not sure about the attendees in the call if they've been reaching out to Kyle or if they've spoken or met with Lily, Isis, Ron, and Danny. They offer so much support, so much guidance. Where like I don't know if it would be kind of a mess without them. They make it linear for us, where otherwise it'd be unlinear.
Right.
It'd be nonlinear. Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. So you've got to really organize the month. You've got a sales goal, you've got supplement goals, you break it down into challenge goals, program upsells, et cetera. And then you break that monthly goal down into a weekly and then really even a daily goal, it sounds like too, right? And then you got a sheet that you're tracking that on. So for everybody who's listening and trying to keep up here, we've got a sheet that we're tracking that on daily that it seems like everybody has access to be able to see. So you all stay aligned that way. And then you're working with your FBC, which is your franchise business coach for some of those who are new and still inquiring about the franchise opportunity. And that is somebody assigned to you from the corporate office. That individual has anywhere from 5-10 years of actual experience in the club on the job. So they've done this role before. And you're meeting with them every month then to kind of align ahead of time what your goal is, and always, it sounds like, aiming toward growth if we're going to hit that 100K, right?
Exactly.
Okay, great. All right, well, let's see. We've talked about a couple of different things there, and I think we're going to have more questions about these financial ones here. But you always say it's not just about the workouts, right? And we've kind of alluded to that. The workout, that's our product, but our business is really people, right? And so it's about the experience in there. And you've touched a little bit about how you did the partner challenge. Fantastic idea there. What else are you doing inside of the facility to get more people participating in the challenges, growing the community, signing up for new members? What are you doing to drive that?
So kind of to almost backtrack on what I said, it's a lot about how we make them feel. So I'll kind of delve into that first, and then I'll go into more of like some
Sure.
techniques that we do as well. We like to say that everybody walks into the location with a big sign that says, "Make me feel special," right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the front desk. That's the first person they see. It's their job to make them feel special. They're coming in. So obviously, greeting with the smile, memorizing their name, greeting them with the name. Um, dialing in like the little stuff, the little moments that can create like a big emotional impact, right? So celebrating any little wins, even if it's nothing related to like the scale. We call it, even on Tuesday, like a non-scale victory Tuesday, right? I've done it in class when I'm training at the end, like, hey, it's non-scale victory Tuesday. I'm gonna call on some people. Let us know your non-scale victory, right? This can be as simple as, hey, I woke up this morning and I had a healthy breakfast, right?
Yeah.
So celebrating little wins, greeting people by their name, shout outs or on like social media for like any milestones. Definitely with the weigh-ins for the challengers, posting every week, keeping track of their weight loss and shouting them out. The best way I could explain it for our challenge is we made it feel like a VIP experience,
Mm.
right? More than just like, okay, like I'm paying more for something. And that brought a lot of like FOMO, fear of missing out, into the challenge. It's a VIP experience. We're celebrating all these little wins, and that feeling is contagious almost. We made it a lot. We made it fun. We made it fun. So you could roll it out with urgency. Limited spots. We did like Anthony said, that Swole challenge where it was like partner based, where there's like a bigger goal, some to reach. You're in a team, you're in competition with other members. So yeah, any of those little techniques to make it seem more than that, make it seem more than just buying a product, than
Mm.
buying a service, right?
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And I like that, right? And I love what you said. It's like the VIP experience. I mean, that's I think everybody can relate and instantly understands what that means, right? And it's not, yeah, you're not just paying extra money and okay, great, I'm doing this thing. And now you're getting all these additional touch points. You're getting these one-on-ones, you're getting the weigh in, you're getting feedback, you're getting adjustments to your macro and your meal plan, right? You've got somebody checking in on you, and you're in that chat group too, right? So there's other camp members that are celebrating your success too. And our trainers like to do the shout outs and everything inside of that. So I think that's great. What then are we doing to drive membership growth? right? Because how does that help us attract more members, more people participating in the programs? You kind of mentioned FOMO, so I think that's part of it, right?
Yeah, 100%. In terms of membership growth, so there's two kind of schools of thought to go about it. I like to say that operations will always outweigh your marketing, right? You can have the best marketing in the world, the top tier marketers on your team. If your product sucks, if your service sucks, it doesn't matter what level of marketing you have, your business will fail, right? Look at any KPI. Your biggest marketing tool is word of mouth, right? How is that generated? By your services, how good your services are, the quality of your service, right? So making sure that your team is firing on all cylinders operations wise is a first, right? That's a must, right? That's what we did at the location first. And then we started focusing on what's called like growth tasks, right? So that's a lot of calls, a lot of text, sending out mass text to people, coming up with promotions, things like that. So I always explain to the team that the gym is always in a state of a loss, right? Someone's always getting injured, someone's always getting sick, someone's always going on vacation. It's our responsibility as a team to make up for that loss, right? How is that done? By those texts, by those calls, by those mass texts, by those emails, following up with our prospects that are coming in, clicking on our ads, right? If we're firing on all cylinders on the operations wise, that word of mouth is going to come in. That word of mouth is going to come in. What can we do? What can we do? We can make those calls, right?
Right. Yeah, very good. And you're not wrong, right? I mean, word of mouth is always going to be number one because you've got someone who's there, they're having success. If your friend tells you to go and do something, you're definitely more inclined to go and check it out, right? And you've done this, they've probably been talking it up to their friends. So they expect to get that VIP treatment when they come in as a new person, right? They want to feel what that existing member's feeling. I think that's fantastic. It's important, right? And I think, a lot of times I talk to people that are interested in franchising and they overthink it, right? They're sitting here trying to come up with this wildly crazy marketing plan. Am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? Right. And I love the way that I don't want to say dumbed it down, but you really made it simple, right? Execute inside of the club, make people feel good about themselves, have kick butt classes, right? And then ultimately it's going to take care of itself, right? There's a marketing team that does the Facebook ads and the Instagram. I tell people that all the time. It's that you're overthinking. You don't have to do any of that, right? We do it for you. You got to do what you just said. Make the phone calls, follow up with people, make sure they feel good, right? At the end of the day, that's going to be what drives success. Anthony, anything you would add to that?
I honestly think he nailed it right on. It's all about like that exposure. I mean, I think we kind of got lucky because we had different kind of experience. Like we were in the past, like a thriving, like $1 million location. Like we were a top performer before, and then over the years, like people left. So like now it's like we hear it all the time. Is like, oh, like it's not to where it used to be. Like it's better. Like we hear things like that,
Wow.
or yeah, we hear it all the time. Is we've never seen the camp like this, or we go to the gym, it's like I can't even go to the gym anymore. Like we have people like just like I get bored. Like they cancel their gym memberships because like I can't even go there anymore. Like this is home. Like nothing else feels right. And it's just a great feeling to hear that. Just like we're growing to the point where it just feels better than it ever has before. And that's always, something awesome to hear, especially from, a new takeover from Nico and myself.
Right. And what a testament to the work you guys are putting in and the team, right? Can't say that enough to have people who have been there 3, 4, 5 years, whatever, say that this is the best it's ever been. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. That's got to make you feel good about yourselves too. So it's well earned. We've got someone who texted in here. Hey, if I was thinking of taking over an existing location, what are some of the things I should think about ahead of time? Like, how did you arrive at that decision to do that? I guess is what they're asking. I hope I've asked that correctly. If I didn't, text me again.
Some things they should think about.
Yeah, like
That's
what were the considerations? Okay, am I going to take over an existing location? And if so, what are some of the things I should be maybe, do I go and look at the club in person? What do I look for to see if this is a good opportunity?
This is gonna be your life. So just be ready for that. Like they even call like a cult. Like once you're in, like you're in. So like if the fitness isn't for you, if you're not dedicated 100% to fitness, then it's 100% isn't going to be for you.
Mm-hmm.
100%. And that's honestly the beauty about business or buying a camp, even, any business. I like to see it. And I explained this. One of my friends asked me the other day. And I think of, my business as a newborn baby, right? Without me as a parent, this baby cannot feed itself. It cannot defend itself.
Wow.
It cannot, if it goes out into nature on its own, it's gonna die, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without my support. The same thing as your business. If you're an owner and you're not at your business, you're not taking care of it, doing what needs to be done, your business is gonna die, just like that newborn baby is gonna die, right? So this is an all-in commitment. A lot of people will go into franchising, especially, and they think that it's a get rich quick scheme. There's franchise support, and the camp does offer so much support, but ultimately it dumbs down to, hey, how much effort is the owner putting in first?
Mm-hmm.
Because culture and leadership, it trickles down, like you said at the beginning of the call, Kyle. It starts at the top. You're as the owner, trickles down to the director, the assistant director, and then the rest of the team, right? So if
Right.
there's a blockage at the top, the rest of the team is not getting anything.
Yeah.
So I would say the most important thing to answer your question is you need to be all in, right? Is fitness, do you love fitness? Do you live and breathe fitness? Do you walk the walk? Do you talk the talk?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can start, going into the location, seeing if it's a right fit, crunching the numbers. How does the staff perform? What are the clients like? You know,
Yeah.
where are those areas of opportunities for growth? But first of all, it's a mindset, 100%. You have to be all in.
Yeah. And let's dig into the numbers too, because I mean, as you guys said, right, at one point this was a $1 million club, and for those that are listening, we're talking about gross annual sales, right? So a little over 85,000 a month in total sales, right? And then it fell off, right, for various reasons. I always tend to think that it's lack of leadership, right? As you said, there's kind of that blockage at the top. They're not involved. They stop paying attention to business. They stop checking in with the team. They stop caring about the facility, keeping it clean, right? Then you guys come along and you flip it around, and the sales are going up every month, right? And we've, I think, done a really good job of laying that out. But ultimately, I think that opportunity is always there, right? I mean, you're in the same building, same location, same marketing, same essential membership base. It's just that, as you said, you're more involved. You care more, right? And so I would maybe tell anybody who's thinking about it, the opportunity is there if you believe in yourself and if you're going to commit to it, right? Because it could have just as easily been somebody else who came along and didn't have the type of success you're having because they wouldn't have put as much of themselves into the business. Do you think that's a fair statement?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. We got another, and I'm gonna, I'm gonna go ahead and flip because somebody else just texted here. So I just want to go over one other thing here, and then we're gonna get to the Q&A so we don't run out of time. So for those of you who are new, those of you who haven't inquired about franchising, although I see a few of you on here, we've spoken before, just want to remind you of how the process works, right? So first and foremost is to complete the franchise application. For everybody listening here, you'll get an email tomorrow with an application as well as a recording to the link. For those of you listening who couldn't make it live, an application is attached to this email. Next, we want to approve the territory. And what that means is we want to know where you want to franchise. Maybe there's an existing location that could be taken over. Maybe there's an opportunity to build a new location, but we need to decide that. We need to figure out what market you want to be in, right? Okay. Then we'll sit down and we'll do what we call a business overview call. That's where we, on a Zoom here, go over the three main components of the business, right? That's looking at the sales, running great classes, as Nico said. So that's the product, right? Fitness. And then looking at the admin, hiring the right staff, how we pay them, compensate them, et cetera, as well as looking at the support the camp provides. Calls usually 45 minutes. Next is to review the FDD. That's our franchise disclosure document. That's the black and white of it, right? That's what regulates the relationship between us. That's also franchising is regulated by the FTC, Federal Trade Commission. So we want to make sure that we are in compliance with franchise law. Last, pre-funding approval. We're going to help you get pre-approved for the loan, just like any other big thing, buying a house, right? You get pre-approved for the loan. Make sure you have enough funding to buy that house. This is to make sure you have enough funding to support that business, whether it's taking over an existing business or building a new location. And then validation. We like to have you speak to existing franchise owners as well as some of our operations team. We don't want there to be any surprises. We want to make sure that we've aligned on what your expectations, and you're hearing it here from an owner, what your expectations are of your daily role as an owner, and does that align with what we actually need you to do. And you've gotten a really great inside glimpse here of what it takes to run a location and what some of that day-to-day activity looks like. And then last but not least, at the end of that process, if it all feels like a good fit, you'll come out to what we call Discovery Day. That's where you come to headquarters where I'm at now, and you meet with the team, and there is a team that is going to be assigned to help you open your location. This entire process, as I've explained it, usually takes 45 to 60 days, right? It's not something quick that we rush through. It's something that we take our time on, you take your time on, and there's also some steps that we have to take in between to keep us, again, in compliance with franchise law. And so that's why it takes roughly that time, okay? So for anybody listening, that's the process. Now, let's get on to the Q&A here. So we've got just a few more minutes left. So if there are any questions, again, you can text them at 909-519-5027, or you can drop them in the chat. Let me see here. I did hear a text go, and I was talking there. So, okay, let's see. Looks like this one's for you, Anthony. Anthony, you mentioned a little bit about how you break down the monthly sales goals. Could you explain how you figure out what the challenge and the membership goals are every month? I guess from a revenue standpoint is what they're asking. So we kind of went over, and I think it might just be easiest if we use that 60,000 number. We said 10% would be the supplement, so that's 6,000. That leaves us with another 54,000. What percentage of that would be potentially the challenge or 21-day program sales? What percentage of that is membership, et cetera? How does that remaining figure break down?
Right. So for us, like like Nico said, like we're always in a state of people, if someone's leaving us, right? So we always have to keep on track of our cancellations, and our goal is to always have more memberships in our cancellations. So staying on top of our cancellations every month. Right now, our attrition rate's at like 1.3%, I believe. So we're not losing basically anybody. The people that like are leaving, that are leave for like moving out of state, or like moving because of a medical reason, or like something like that. So like just stay on top of that. I don't think it's so much of like a revenue thing. It's more of just staying on track of, hey, like we have to keep growing. So our monthly every single month is to grow, based off of our cancellations. If we have 0 cancellations and we get 10 signups, obviously that's the goal, but it's not realistic. It's not sustainable. So just staying on top of that and staying on top of our cancellations, and I don't know, staying constantly growing, I believe is, not really directly correlated to the revenue, but just more towards that.
Kind of to piggyback off that. So the way we come up, with our number, you have to take into account every revenue stream. So how many members do you have signed up? So what revenue they're getting, whether your memberships are on a weekly basis like ours, or a monthly. So some of our members our old members are on a monthly membership. Our newer ones are on a weekly. So we have to factor in, okay, how much are we getting in a week for the 4 weeks in the month?
Right.
How much are we getting in at the beginning of the month? Right. What's our projected product sales? What's our projected challenge? There's always a monthly promotion that's in play. That's game planned by corporate, and they send us the SOP on that, how to properly sell that and pitch that product. So you have to factor in a lot of stuff. What we do is we have a report, and it breaks down, little tiles. There's a formula. It's a Google Excel sheet. It's nothing crazy. You type in, okay, I want 20 challengers. And then, at the bottom of the report, it says, okay, you're 30% to goal. You just got to add in the other, okay, I'm going to get this many product sales. I'm going to sell this many memberships. I'm going to sell this many challengers, so on and so forth. So it really just depends. Nobody's goals is going to look the same, just because everybody has different members. Clientele behaves different as well.
Right. And for those listening, I know we threw a couple of terms out there. So when we say attrition rate, that's your cancellations, right? So for every 100 people, if you had one person, I think you said you're at 1.3. So that would be 1.3% attrition, right? You'd have 1.3 people canceling. So that's obviously fantastic, right? So almost nobody is canceling. And then when we're talking about that reoccurring, and that is the beauty of a fitness business, right? Is that reoccurring monthly revenue, as Nico said, your people are on a membership that they pay either on a monthly or weekly basis. Easy math, if you had 100 people paying $100 a month, that would be $10,000 a month, right? So that would be your reoccurring, okay? So that is how they do the breakdown, right? So they have the reoccurring monthly sales, they have new product sales, they have the supplement sales, right? And then you add those up to get the total. So that's a fantastic question. I hope we answered it well. And okay, next question. It sounds like you guys had the advantage asking neighboring locations about trainers from there. Have you ever used any other method to hire trainers? For example, Indeed or ZipRecruiter. I think I've heard of that, ZipRecruiter. Okay, so if you haven't, so how are you hiring trainers other than, or have you hired staff other than borrowing them from existing neighboring locations?
Other than borrowing, Indeed, that's it.
Yeah, okay. And
Very simple,
how
yeah.
complicated is that? I think sometimes people, again, they overthink it, and it's like hiring staff's going to be this crazy difficult thing. And maybe I'm wrong, right? Was it difficult? Was it easy? Did it take a week, a month? How long does it take to hire staff?
You know, as of recently, it's been very bizarre that you have to treat these people coming in who want to schedule an interview as a lead. You know, I have to constantly be in touch with this person, follow up with them, make sure that they're coming to the interview. If not, they don't show up. It was the most bizarre thing. I would say that's the only thing you have to look out for when
Right.
it comes to hiring. But no, it's very simple. You post an ad online on Indeed. You're
Mm-hmm.
looking for a trainer. You're looking for a front desk representative, and yeah, you get those interviews in. You get those phone numbers, and you reach out to them.
There you go. So not terribly complicated. Able to do that for hiring trainers, hiring front desk staff. Again, I think this is one of those areas where people tend to overthink it, but it's not terribly complex. You've heard it from them here. Okay, we've got another question here. Roughly how many hours a week are each of you working to have this type of success? Great question.
We both work full time, so around both of us, I'd say like 45 hours a week.
Mm-hmm. And for those people who are maybe gonna hire a director, right? That director should be working roughly 45 hours a week, right? I mean, it is a full-time position, as Nico said there. So that would be the expectation. I believe I'm answering this correctly as they said. So yeah, they're there 40 to 45 hours a week. If you were going to hire for that position, then they would need to work those hours. I think sometimes when we see a location that gets in trouble or starts to get distressed, sometimes it is the owner who is working as the director, but they're not working the 40 to 45 hours a week, right?
Exactly.
And, I always tell people, well, you got to think, are you doing this because it's the right thing to do? Or are you doing this because you're the owner and you can't get fired, right? And as you've just explained, you wouldn't hire a director to work 15, 20, 25 hours a week. So if you are going to take on that role as an owner, you can't work 15 to 20 to 25 hours a week. And I think that these guys here have told you, and they're having the success with it, right? Okay, let's see. I think we got time for two more questions. So if we got anybody else here, we'll give you two more here. Otherwise, I think we'll thank these gentlemen for their time, and we'll wrap things up as we've almost hit the end of our session here. Okay, I see one coming in here right now. I'm not entirely sure, whoever texted that in, what you mean by that. Oh, okay. You guys talked about elite. Okay, I think I understand it now. How many different elite groups do you have running? So we talked about mastering, running the classes first, then mastering onto the challenges, right? So how long was it before you added the elite programming back in, and how many elite groups do you currently have running now? I think I understand the question.
It was about 5 months. It was about 5 months in where we started offering elite again.
Okay.
We like to think of it almost as like a privilege. You know, if your trainer does not excel in a hit class, then there's no way that they're going to be touching elite, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many? So we started off small. We really only started off one day out of the week with 2 classes in the morning, and built hype around that program. Now we are having elite sessions Monday through Monday through Friday,
Friday.
actually.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wow,
Monday through Friday.
right on. Okay.
So
And
usually it's around 4 elite classes a day. So around 20 elite sessions per week that are offered to our members. But you have to start off small. You do have to start off small.
very cool. And it looks like there's a follow-up to that. How did you determine 5 months? Was that based on revenue coming in or something else?
No, so it was determined more on the client's wants and needs.
Hmm.
So a lot of clients were looking for, well, even not even just in our location, but as an industry, right? If we look at consumer behaviors, there's a big uptick in like a holistic approach to fitness, and that is weightlifting, strength training. A lot of benefits are being shown. There's a lot of doctors talking about it,
Mhm.
the benefits of weightlifting, how it can increase your bone density, reverse aging, all this stuff. So, consumer behavior, there's a need for it. We started at the 5 month mark just because there was so much going on first that we needed to
Right.
to take care of, like the state of the gym, training up our trainers, training up our front end. At the 5 month mark, we made the decision that, like, okay, we are ready now. But the clients were asking for it probably like 3 months into it.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I think we kind of touched upon this at first, right? So if you are on the call and you're thinking about taking the existing location, it's prioritizing, right? And number one, we got to get the club looking good. Number two, we got to, make sure the staff's on point. Number three, classes got to be on point, right? And those are the most important things. These add-on programs, as you've heard both of these guys say it, you can start to trickle those, sprinkle those in as needed. I think probably challenges make the most sense, which is what you guys did next. You added in the challenges, 21-day programs. I think that makes the most sense. And then elite would be kind of one of those things that would come after you've mastered those other items, right? So master the regular class, master adding in the challenges, and then look to add elite or some other type of specialty programming. So I think that's all the time we've got for today. So, Nico, Anthony, thank you both so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure. We had a lot of people on the call here. It looks like about 20 people, 25 people made it throughout the call, which is great. Really appreciate your time today. Any closing words for our listeners?
Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, first of all, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun just explaining basically what we've been doing. I just want to say that, what Anthony and myself have done, it wasn't based on luck or anything. It all dumbed down to, first of all, like leadership,
Mm.
consistency, setting the tone every single day. There wasn't a day where we came in and we did not set the tone. So when you lead with purpose, when you train with like that intent, you protect your culture, you protect your product, everything falls into place, right? It just requires your effort first.
Honestly, I would say it's all about a mind. It's all mindset. Like we went in there with the right mindset of, this is what we're gonna do. So if you guys
Mm.
are ambitious about it, just go in, with 100% effort, and just know that you need the right people and the right team around you. And sometimes that takes time. But just know that once you guys have the right team and everything, in line, everything starts to come together.
Outstanding, guys. Lead with purpose and mindset. That's the takeaway. I love it. Again, for those of you who are listening, you will be getting a follow-up email tomorrow. There will be a link so you can listen to this call again. You'll also be able to schedule a follow-up call with me if you'd like to learn more about the franchising opportunity. And I'll attach an application there as well, because that is the next thing that we would do to kick off the process, right? Fill out the application. And we'll move things forward. For those of you who couldn't make the call today and you're listening to the recording, again, there's a link on there to schedule a follow-up call to learn more about the franchising opportunity, as well as an application. So again, gentlemen, thank you so much. Look forward to having you on the show again. And with that, we'll say goodbye to everybody. Have a great day.
All right. Take
I think
care.
Kyle.